of the day from TiE Mysuru on this warm evening. Ruchi always feels home. We were a bit out due to some occupancies here where we couldn't find the dates at which it was matching to our dates of events, but yet now we are back in the Ruchi in the same venue. So hope the venue brings more vibe as it was in the previous days. To go on with this today's Fireside Chat with Mr. Sumukh Narendra, Director, Vinyas Innovative Technologies, Mysuru, Mr. Ashwin Dange, Director, GRS Fantasy Park and Director, Baliga Investments Pvt, Limited, Mysuru, with the moderation being done by Mr. Dharma Prasad, Charter Member, TiE Mysuru, Dr. Dharma Prasad. Before we head on to the main event, I request the President of TiE Mysuru, Mr. Bhaskar Kalale sir, to deliver the welcome address and opening remarks.
Thank you very much for coming this afternoon for what I expect to be a very exciting session, a 1.5 hour session. And of course, with the rains and everything, I was hoping that the attendance would be much better. But anyway, so it's still, it's good that you could make it. It's very easy to sit back home, enjoy a hot cup of tea with some bhaji and pakodas, right? So that would be awesome. But the fact that we are here, we are very excited to have two very good second generation entrepreneurs in Ashwin and in Sumukh. And obviously we're looking forward to listening to their stories and how they've come up. And interestingly, yesterday, CII had conducted a family business program in the evening, and Pawan was there yesterday. And it's very kind of almost in a series that yesterday we had the CII session on family business, and Sumukh and Ashwin are now representing family business here as a second generation. And of course, everybody knows that Pawan and his generation is the third generation of running Rangrao and Sons and the family business. Besides that, looking forward to hearing you guys. And of course, with Dharma Prasad, Dr. Dharma Prasad is the newest inductee into the charter member family of TiE Mysuru. We are very proud to have him for a number of reasons. One thing is he has been extremely active in the industry and institutional interaction and relationship building, etc. So we are in the process of, I think I mentioned to you guys last time, we are in the process of building what we call Campus to CEO program, where we want to identify entrepreneurs very early on in their college days, as early as second semester, and take them through the entire, use the entire 3-4 semester that is left for them to become hopefully a good entrepreneur, or at least have some good ideas that can be nurtured and that can be promoted and hopefully can have market value or commercialization value. So it's with great pleasure I welcome Dr. Dharma Prasad, and as soon as he joined us, and we told him to anchor today's program. Right, so thank you very much, Dr. Dharma, for joining us and for taking on the responsibility today. Before I wind up, on the 4th of July, TiE Mysuru is partnering with KEDEM of Karnataka government. So I don't know how many of you know about KEDEM. KEDEM stands for Karnataka Digital Economy Mission. The KEDEM's purpose is to promote the digitalization of the entire Karnataka state machinery, so as to speak, and industries to achieve $1 trillion status by 2030, I think. So as a part of that, it was recognized and realized that Bangalore again alone cannot deliver it, and therefore they now have an initiative called Beyond Bengaluru. So as a part of the Beyond Bengaluru, there are 4 clusters that they have created. Mysuru is one of the clusters, Bangalore is another cluster, Hubli, Dharwad and Tumkur. And each cluster has been given certain responsibilities, and there are incentives and policies that are geared for helping the startups and established companies to set up shops in these clusters. And the program that we are going to have on 4th of July is called Mysuru Big Tech Show. It's going to be held at the Infosys campus. It's open to everybody, and it is, I believe, free for TiE members, because we are co-hosting that event with KEDEM. and very good number of good well-known speakers are in line. What we are going to do is to discuss various Government of Karnataka policies and initiatives and incentives given by the government for companies to both startup policies as well as policies that are for specific sectors like IT, BT, or agri-tech, or food technology, etc., etc. So if any of you are, I think I would encourage all of you to come and attend it in large numbers. You're going to enjoy it. That is on the 4th of July. It's an all-day program. And then the previous evening, it's a by invite only networking dinner for Mysure's business leaders with some of the top leaders that we are getting from around the country. Coming back to TiE Mysuru, we are planning to have a CM retreat, or rather a social, probably sometime in the month of August. Mahesh, right? AMs, okay, I take that back. So AMs and CMs, so please look out for those announcements. And one big thing, talking about announcements, we are now separating, making 3 different WhatsApp groups. One is purely for announcements, the other one is specifically for CM group, the third one is for AM groups. And primarily the reason is what we realize that when we make an announcement in CM and AM group, many members start contributing, right, their own messages, and therefore the core message about programs and announcements goes up on the top, right? So people don't get to read it. So we wanted to have one forum where it's a one-way communication from TiE Mysuru to its members, and the other 2 will remain for you to contribute and collaborate with each other and to share information about the various events and successes and so on and so forth. So please look for those announcements from Mahesh, and you will probably have to click on a couple of links to join. It's by invite only. That's how the WhatsApp community works. So please become member, and then we'll continue to collaborate and move forward. Once again, thank you so very much for coming this afternoon, and I hope I'm looking forward to listening to these 2 fine young gentlemen. Thank you.
It's time for me to introduce the moderator for today's session, Dr. M. Dharma Prasad. Dr. M. Dharma Prasad is the CEO and Chief Scientist of Prosetta Bioconformatics, developing saving treatments for infections, cancer, and brain disorders. He is the founder director of Funpluslearn Solutions, making education fun and accessible. He has also built successful ventures in diagnostics, contract research, and digital brand management. But his mission goes beyond business, it goes about impact. As chairman of Samvidya Trust and convener of CII's Industry Institute panel, he empowers students through scholarship, mentoring, and skill build programs. Beyond this, Dr. Prasad serves on multiple advisory committees shaping the growth of institutions, industries, and communities with his strategic insights. From humble beginning, he climbed to earn a PhD from CDFD University of Hyderabad and MSc from University of Mysore. Dr. Prasad's dedication has earned him honors like the Distinguished Alumni Award and Samaja Seva Ratna Award. He has written 9 books and published 18 research papers. His motivational talks have touched over 27,850 lives physically and lakhs of lives digitally, guiding students, professionals, and leaders to believe their potential. Dr. Dharma Prasad sir, I request you to kindly come onto the dais and hand over you the session for moderation of this fireside chat.
Thank you for welcoming to your vibrant community. I've kept on hearing about TiE, didn't make the choice to join earlier. Somehow now I am part of you. Hopefully we'll all together take this to great heights. I think it's not about me, it's about the 2 young gentlemen that we all want to hear. Can I please invite Mr. Sumukh Narendra on the stage, please? So many of you heard about Vinyas Technologies? Raise of hands, please. Vinyas Technologies. Now, Narendra, you know what to do. How to build your brand. 50% have not heard about you, right? I think that is one somewhere. Please be seated. Please be seated, Sumukh. Sumukh is a whole-time director at Vinyas Innovative Technologies, one of India's top EMS providers, focused on precision electronics manufacturing from concept to final testing. They are a listed company. You can go and check their stock prices and market cap. He did his BE in Electronics and Communication from SJCE, then an MS in Embedded Systems from University of Pennsylvania. He is driving innovation in diagnostics, digital healthcare, industrial and European markets since joining Vinyas in 2018. Pioneer in UAV electronics for defense, shared insights on building robust India-made drone systems to boost self-reliance. Strategic growth, learning firmware and industrial engineering breakthroughs while helping Vinyas expand across Europe and medical sectors. So I am really excited to hear from you, hopefully all my audience. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining, Mr. Sumukh. One big round of applause for Sumukh. Now can I request Mr. Ashwin Dange to come on dais, please? Mr. Ashwin serves as director at Baliga Investments Pvt. Limited. Have you heard of this? Only one, two, couple of them. Wait. So now have you heard of GRS Fantasy Park? How many of you? Please raise your hands. Is there anybody who doesn't know? You have done your branding very well, Ashwin. Wonderful. GRS Engineering Pvt. Limited and GRS Fantasy Park. He is the director of that. He did his BE from NIE and then he did a lot of other things. I think we'll asked him to tell and then came back and joined GRS. So Baliga Investment promotes various amusement parks including GRS Fantasy Park, GRS Snow Park and GRS Up Down. GRS Engineering is involved in automobile component manufacturing with every truck in India having at least one component manufactured by them. And you know which is the most visited place in India? Tourist place, Taj Mahal. How many people must be visiting? 10 million people. Which is the second most visited place? Mysore Palace. How many people visit? About 3.6 million people visit every year. And GRS Fantasy Park gets about 10 lakh people visiting every year. One round of applause for building a fantastic brand in Mysore. Hopefully, you can grab everybody who visits Palace to his GRS Park. Then his numbers will be multiplying. Anyway, so he is also serves as the director of Indian Amusement Association and is involved in strategic decisions affecting the amusement industry in India. So he leads the social media and digital initiative of this committee. I think we will hear from them more rather than me talking. So let's get started. Are you ready, guys? Are you ready? Once more, are you ready? Wonderful. Some inherit wealth, some inherit legacy, but very few inherit a challenge of managing both. To carry forward a dream, make it their own, and still sleep at night. Today, we meet two such leaders. Second-gen entrepreneurs, first-gen mindsets. Real stories, no filters. They have told me both of them can be very candid, so I'm going to pull their legs. You can also too. Quick show of hands. How many of you are first-generation entrepreneurs here? First-generation entrepreneurs, a couple of them. From a family business background. From a family business, probably second, third generation, okay? Still figuring out whether you want to start, join, or jump. Who is trying to still figure out whether to become an entrepreneur or not? Probably majority of you, isn't it? Oh, good. Thank you. Whichever phase you are in, I promise you, tonight's conversation will speak to your story, your questions, and maybe even your confusion. Maybe they'll be able to sort out your confusion so that you can dive in. So shall we start, gentlemen? I think my first question is to Sumukh. Growing up, what were the dinner table conversations at home like? Was it all engineering talk? Were you already being shaped for the business?
Hello. Very honestly, my father didn't carry business home, so that is one of the major things which was something I strive to learn from him. Carrying work home was something that he never did, or an expectation to be a part of the business was never a part of the discussion. It was more the engineering fascination that I had, and him being the first generation engineer in our family, coming from a family full of doctors. He was like an outcast in the family, where there was a push for me to become a doctor. So the only person I had to bounce ideas across was my dad. So it was predominantly on the engineering side. Very little, I would say nothing regarding business. Business started predominantly after I got involved in the business. But I would say it was a lot more engineering and a lot more, he was more interested in our day than talking about his day all through the rest of the evening that we had.
Wonderful. But still, you, you loved it so much.
I wanted to start something differently. So the whole idea, I moved to the US. I was very clear I wanted to move back. That was something that I took up from him, that he moved back in the 80s and he was able to achieve something. So 30 years down the line, if we move back and take things forward, we should be able to take a larger step. So my idea was to come back and start something on development and making products, but it ended up being a part of Vinyas and we grew it from there.
You know, when I would feel magical, every time I talk to some friend, they would ask, do you get to go to GRS every day? And I thought this would die down once I finished school. Now I go to business programs in Delhi, and when I tell them I'm from the amusement park space, they say, do you get to go to play every day? So I still get that magical feeling even today when, when I think about it. But, in terms of getting into the business as such, so I was just post engineering. I had gotten into IT. I'm a computer science engineer. I had gotten into IT, and at that time our social media was just coming up, right? And so I said on the side, I was working in Bangalore in a software company, and while I was working there, I said, okay, I should do something for GRS because social media was coming up, and at that time nobody knew social media, right? And so what happened, I kind of, that was the days of just post, I think Orkut or something like that, and just getting into Facebook. So set up the page. I remember those times when I was editing some post and putting it up and all of that very passionately, right? And doing it very passionately. And then, I started questioning, why is it that we are running this? Why is it that we are doing this? The point in time when I started saying, why are we doing this, right? That's when it started hitting me that this business of happiness, is a very serious business. So I always say that amusement park space, there are 4 main things that we have to do well. And if we do these 4 things, then everybody is happy. And number 1 is, they have to have maja. I say they have to have maja. Number 2 is our staff has to be great. Number 3 is cleanliness and hygiene has to be great. And number 4 is food. If any attraction masters these 4, right, then the customers had a great time. And GRS is not an easy buy, because when a family comes, a family of 5 or 6, they end up spending 9,000-10,000 rupees. And the kind of people that come to our park, what I see is that there are a lot of families who promise their kids saying, Illa, you do well in your exam, then I will take you there. And the parents have invested that money to bring them 10,000. So I tell my team as well, if you take any other business, there is a purpose for them to be here. What is the purpose of GRS? The purpose of GRS is to make sure that the guy who's come in goes out happy. If he does not, what's the purpose of any of us working here? Right? And it's not that he will come back again immediately. So, okay. So that's where I kind of started realizing that, oh, this is very serious business. This is something very serious, and take it up very seriously. Yeah.
Sorry for that. That was not a prompt. Irrespective of whether it is GRS or anything else, I think your 4 rules applies to pretty much all the businesses. As long as your customer is happy, he keeps coming back.
If you're going out with your family, if you
Yes, yeah, absolutely, I think.
Now that I have a child, when I go out, no, I'm making sure that, oh, he has to have fun. As a father, no, I don't care if I have fun. If my son does not have fun, no, it doesn't matter. Because we get into understanding our customer, we realize that the father doesn't care about himself. The kid has to have a great time. Safety comes as a part of it. Safety is taken for granted. That's your like bottom level. There's nothing, that's the foundation. You build on top of that. Then it has to be clean. Then your staff has to be great. And then your food has to be good.
I wanted to do something on my own, and the idea was product development was something that I was very passionate about, and the exposure in the US working in an organization gave the exposure that I needed. There was always a clock that I had set for myself. It was a weird clock that before I get married, I need to move back because never will I come back after that. So I got married, then we moved
Hopefully
back.
not American.
I got married when I was in the US. So I moved back. I started my own, on my own. Vinyas, by the time I got into Vinyas was at least 2.5 years later to when I started. It was more a circumstantial situation where I ended up taking care of Vinyas on a full-time operation rather than trying to push what I was doing. And what really happened was now the interests of what I wanted to do and what Vinyas was doing got aligned wholly and solely in one direction, and that's the direction we are following. So that was the exposure that we gave to Vinyas as a manufacturing hub, manufacturing organization. We started saying we'll give our customers engineering services, we are going to make products for you, and we pulled in what I was planning to under the umbrella of Vinyas, and that has grown over the last 5 years. So that's how I see it. Circumstances would have been different. I don't know whether I would have been driving Vinyas today. So
Are you happy about it?
I'm absolutely happy about it.
Yeah. No, because wonderful. Including me, when we talk to our children, both me and my wife are biologists. None of my kids want to become biologists. Sometimes we go away. Sometimes we get into it.
I have a different thing. I have a 2-year-old. I tell my son, you don't become an engineer. It stops here.
Yeah, it's a very challenging conversation that we have our children. Your parents must have faced the same thing. I think moving to wonderful answer. Thank you, Sumukh and Ashwin. Somewhat similar.
I must add to that. We became engineers and then we decided what we wanted to do in life, right? And most of the times that's the case. And what you said resounds so well with me because as engineers, you're taught how to solve problems. Right? But rather more and more I get into doing things, I realize that who can solve the problem is probably more important than how to solve the problem. So who not how becomes so much more impactful. And as an engineer, whenever there is a problem in front of us, instead of thinking of it in terms of ROI, you immediately jump into put little more money, make it better, make it like this, make it like that. And so I see that, and all our directors are engineers, every single one. All of them, my father and my uncles and me and everybody else is engineers. So all of us jump into this mindset of how to solve this, instead of trying to think about, okay, maybe this should not be working, right? So, but yeah.
Very interesting take. I didn't get an engineering seat. I did my BSc, but the idea is very simple. I think that opens up a lot of doors. I remember when my daughter interviewed Pawan, he said, you need to be a technologist to start a company, not in a management or not somebody else, because that is how you solve a problem. And that is how a company graduates from there. So I think similarly, a question for you, Ashwin, overlapping, but partially you answered. You started your career in IT, right? You did in engineering, you moved into IT, then you started ice cream business, coming back. But eventually, you got into GRS. How did you transition into GRS?
My father, he's been the sort of person who doesn't enforce anything. He's like, you take your path and you go along wherever you want to go. And when I was doing my engineering, I said no. My path was very clear. I'm going to work for 1 year in IT because I was a computer science engineer and loved programming, loved computers, loved all of that. And to this day, I love it. And it's pure core problem solving, which I love, right? And so I went into IT, and then I said, no, after 1 year, I'm going to give my MBA, and I'm going to fly out, and I'm going to do something, and then I'm going to start my business. The end goal was I'm going to start my business. The point was never that I'll come back and join GRS. It was, I don't know why that conversation never came up. Neither did my father tell me, or whenever I told these dreams of mine, it didn't come up. It didn't happen. And it was very circumstantial, like what he said. So I went and I did my, there was campus interviews and all. And all this, something happened, got into the first company, right? Didn't even, I was very interested in, that's the year when the iPhone had come out. So super interested in the capacitive touchscreen, got in detailed into that. And I go to the interview and a large company, go into the interview there and leave his questions. We are talking about the capacitive touchscreen on an iPhone, right? Me and him are having a very interesting conversation. And then they are like, no, you have to join. And in the end, I joined a company where it had nothing to do with the touchscreen, but nonetheless, that was the direction. And so 1 year happened, and then I said, no, okay, I'm very clear, I want to do my MBA. So went and gave my exams, right? Studied really hard. Became a hermit. Forgot life. Sat, like I had a place in Bangalore, so would sit indoors. 6 months, sat, studied, and then became eligible for the top 10 universities in the world. And started applying for Harvard and MIT, like a 740 or something like that on the GMAT. Started applying. Now, while in the application process, they ask you to write essays. And these essays, get you thinking. Like, what's your purpose in life? What are you trying to do? And all of that. And all of these colleges start telling you, saying, no, you need 5 years of experience or need 3 years, whatever. And by then, I don't have this. I'm like, okay, what is this? And then the more I do this, I realize that, these MBAs will make me eligible for becoming a manager in a big company. But that's not my dream. My dream is to start something on my own. That is where then, I had paid my first fee as well. And I go back to my dad and I tell him saying, I get selected. And I say, Dad, no, I want to drop out. I want to do something on my own. He's like, oh my God, what are you doing? Why are you doing all this? Because he thought, son is going to settle down, everything is going to be great. And then I'm throwing this bombshell. And that's where this journey of trying to get out there and start something on my own started. Initially started a software company called as DigiPulse, which was into understanding the pulse of the customer, right? So let's say there is a conference like this. We had a dashboard where, people could give their feedbacks. And then, so there was NASCOM Product Conclave where we were one of the partners and did that for some time. And along the way, this idea of ice cream store came up. So we thought, no, ice creams are most lucrative. Because why? Ice creams don't go bad. And this is when I was like 23, 24 years old. So got into the ice cream business. And at one point, we had 3 stores in Mysore and 3 stores in Bangalore. And that's how kind of the journey started. And then, we went from there and did lots more. How I got into GRS is another big story in itself. I think as we move forward, I think let's answer that a little ahead.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ashwin, for that answer. Today morning, Ullas Kamath was there at CIA conference, and he said, if you want to influence your next generation to join your company, I think many of you are first generation entrepreneurs, you need to convince them before 14 years old. Because after that, they'll find a boy or a girl in US and migrate and never love the business. You are finished. There'll be no generation to take care of your business. So it's very interesting. You guys took a different path, but ultimately ended up joining the family business. Fantastic. Now, I think moving on to Sumukh, my third question. After this, we'll open briefly for a audience question, 1 or 2, and then come back here just to keep it engaging. When you first stepped into leadership, Sumukh, in Vinyas, what was harder? Making decisions or making others accept your decisions? Because probably there were many seniors to you in age and experience or whatever. What did you find it difficult?
For me, the consequence of the decision ended with me. So the decision making was the easier part. The tougher part was, for me, there are a lot of employees at Vinyas who I keep joking that they've seen me in my diapers and they're seeing my son in his diapers. So they've been with Vinyas for 35 plus years in different roles. They've been with my father. So it was a challenging process to get them to accept, because it was more a relationship which was more a informal relationship that I had with a lot of employees rather than a formal relationship, and trying to bring that in one day, saying that from tomorrow X is going to take a decision. That's a difficult process to take in. That took a lot of effort on both sides, where it needed a slow, I say it's taken 3 to 4 years for me to get to the stage where there is a lot more mutual understanding on how decision making happens. They're able to understand how decisions happen, and I'm able to understand how they work. Early on, it was impulsive. Slowly, things have started becoming more in line with how businesses run. It takes a while to get used to the legacy that exists in business, but you can take a decision and run with it, but you need to bring your whole team along with your decision. So that's a big challenge when you're stepping into a big shoes that you have.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sumukh. I think that was fantastic. Similarly, I think, Ashwin, I would ask a similar question, worded differently. Did your team ever treat you like a boss's kid? Because you have been first, and how did you earn their respect as a leader? Was there a specific incident that made you change?
So what had happened was I had gone out, right? So I, post engineering, I'd gone, and for almost 6-7 years, I was in Bangalore and elsewhere. And so I was not necessarily in GRS. And for me, when I came back, I don't think it mattered. How do I put this? I don't think it mattered to me. I think what mattered to me much more was that I earned my own respect. That was something that was always there. And another huge pillar, which has always been there, is because I had started my ice cream business, I knew how damn difficult it was, right? And from the outside, business looks so easy. But I remember, it was my first Ashada when I was running my ice cream business. First Ashada. And I didn't know what Ashada was until then. I'm from Mangalore, there is no Ashada there. Then Mysore, Ashada, my Kuvempu Nagar store, I'm standing outside my store. It's the 7th of the month and the bank account is empty. I have to pay salaries that day. And, I could easily go back to my father and ask him. But then post-college, I had said, whatever, I don't know what this is, but there's some stupid thing in my head that said, no, I'm not going to ask money. Okay, and I will do my own thing. And then, on the 7th of the month, and you can't show that negative face to your staff, right? You don't have money, but then you have to still, encourage them, saying, no, come on, let's do well. It's okay. If business is bad, everything will be fine. And I've been born with a golden spoon for whatever said and done. I don't know what no money means. I didn't know, at least. I'm able to deal with it better today. And, somehow something happened. Of course, then you go ahead and talk to your own father and tell him saying, no, this is the issue. I need some money. And then that you went through that. And so I saw this, right? Post that, when I come into GRS and everything else is easy. In front of that situation, and this was not one situation. This was a repeated situation. And every time you looked at this, right, you're like, okay, what am I? And the thing is, when you start something of your own, you are 100% responsible for it. You can't say, hey, Ashada, that's why no sales. You can't say that. There's no thing in the world which you can say which will balance for not having money. There's nothing. So then that kind of, in front of that, everything else was easy. After that, so when I got into GRS, I was very clear. I am going to be the hardest working person in this room. I'm the first one to office and the last one to leave, right? And nothing doing. And I was where there were problems. By then, my father was pretty much into finance and all of that. My uncle was involved, but he was not fully involved in it as well. So somehow it automatically happened. And I don't know where they got this trust from. I mean, trust on me, right? I don't know where it happened because initially, of course, all decisions I would take to them. I would be like, this is something that I wanted to do. I remember I wanted to spend 5,000 rupees on something and I would take that to them. I'd say, I want to spend this. I want to spend this. And, I've said this line, Dharma, always, that in the shade of a big tree, a young plant can't grow. And somehow my father and my uncle did this. They didn't provide me shade. Lot of times we think that young people need a lot of support, pulling and pushing, and they need to be told what to do. It's not the case. Most times you need to get out of their way. And at least with me, it was that you get out of my way and then things would happen. And my father did that. And where I did still a small job. Where did he find the courage to do that? Right? So, and so for me, it was really like the first 3-4 years, no? It was purely about earning my own respect. It was about proving myself. And, I had come off of running my own business where there were difficulties. Though it had started getting better, we were at break even at the point in time when GRS needed me, and I also needed GRS in a way. So when that started happening, so that's how the transition happened. And I've somehow always had this in my head that everybody should be taken along. And mine is a big family. Right? It should not be that, hey, who's this fellow who doesn't know anything, coming in and starting to do everything. So I needed to keep everybody informed, take everybody along. And I didn't have this mindset that, no, old people, you need to get rid of them. No. I was like, no, I need to take them along. So I would sit and teach computers initially. Right? Today at the park, everything is RFID enabled. I think we are one of the few parks in the country where the entire park, like there is a proper management system where from the time the customer enters until they exit, everything is recorded on RFID bands and what is happening. Your lockers are handled by that. Everything is connected via OFC. Today we have gotten into using a lot of AI. We do AI management we use AI for crowd management. We do AI for water prediction, like water quality prediction and auto dosing. We use that. We use AI management for all our vehicles come in, right? So every Monday, I get a dashboard of what's the profile of the cars that come in. Right? So from where, 6 years ago, where we were barely using computers to today being fully technologically equipped and being able to handle all of this and being an example for how this can be done. We get a lot of amusement parks coming in and doing this. So for me, it was purely at that time earning respect of myself and taking everybody along. So this never came up. Like I never had ego. I was ready to learn. And as he said, no, all decisions I took to everybody. I went and asked, hey, is this okay? Is this okay? Took to my father, took to everybody else. So I don't think that was the intent was very clear, very clean, very clean intent and very selfless intent. So I don't think that was a problem at that time.
Wonderful, Ashwin. Thank you. I think of you, yourself. If you can win yourself, I think you can win everybody else. Bottom line, any questions? 1 or 2 questions if you have. I have 3 or 4 more questions to each one of them.
Myself, Anil Kumar. I'm one of the alumni of NIE. So I have a question about the education. So during our generation, I believe all 3 of us are from the same generation, I believe, plus or minus. So during our education system, it was a mandate or prerequisite to go to any good job or start any good business. That was the value that was created during our time, the education system. So recently, last 2 years, what I'm seeing is lot of accelerator programs or a lot of universities, not universities, accelerator program, I would say, like our startup programs are funding more for a not really a college passed out or educated students. Instead, like they are encouraging, including TiE, right? Like going to a second semester students and encouraging them to be an entrepreneurship. So do you still see the same path of education compared to the way 20 years back we did?
The direction most of these programs are going. It's not to fade away the basic education that is required, but to fill the gap that we have, especially on the side that most of the exposure that we get is directly as soon as we join, either as an employee or when you start your own firm or your own business. Most of these programs are more in addition to the core courses that have been there, and the value of the core courses are not going to go away. So if you look at any business, there is a core business to it, and if there isn't a core education towards it, then it's not going to be sustainable. So most of these programs are more on the adding value to the core segments that are there, and that's the mindset that I have and I continue to have, where I see most of these programs are adding more exposure. In my time, I would say we did engineering and we enjoyed engineering. There was, I would say, far less time that I was in class than far more time I was outside. So the attendance was not so strict, or you could have the best of both worlds. But the exposure that you need is missing. It's more like you get pushed into the ocean and you learn how to swim. And that is what some of these courses are trying to do, give you the exposure early on so that you can be ready for what is coming up.
I think, personally today, the talk around entrepreneurship is more than it was back then. Right? As a opportunity, I think it is there. I remember my father telling me when I was in college, saying he studied in MIT, Manipal. He said, when I was in Manipal, we would talk a lot more about starting something. And in his batch, there were a lot of people who started, like BPL was started in his batch. And then my father's gone on to start a lot of things. And similarly, it has happened. Now, when I was in college, there was very little talk of entrepreneurship. It was pretty much talk of, okay, what is the percentage of jobs, that is, number of seats that the college got, what is the salary package, and this is what was mainly spoken. At that time, I remember there was an organization called the Vadhwani Foundation, which is National Entrepreneurship Network, NEN, not very active anymore. But then they came into college, and I was the founding member of our entrepreneurship cell, which is called Onyx. And I'm so happy that, during that time, what we did was we went around to a lot of colleges in Mysore and started talking about entrepreneurship and started telling about this. Now, I have a lot of people who remember me from back then, who were from non-business backgrounds, who work like I have a couple of friends of mine who are from then, who were very middle class background and who were into engineering, went on to work. He went on to become a lecturer, and then today he's come out and started a school of his own. Right? So there is some impact. It doesn't mean that these entrepreneurship efforts are in vain. It doesn't mean that right out of college it is possible, because of course footing is not there. No, like you have to make sure that you are well grounded in life. Or decently grounded in life to be able to take that leap as well. So it's not futile, and the effect of it is not immediately visible. We can't measure it, and there can't be an MIS which says I spent 100 rupees today, so tomorrow how many businesses have opened. I don't think that's the metric, because I see with my batch, people who are involved in our entrepreneurship cell still have this dream of going ahead and starting something alive. Either they have started or they will start at some point in their future when, they are a little more secure. Security is different for everybody, but then they will start at some point. So it's not, I don't think it's futile. And like the work that TiE and all is doing is God's work, because this is what will grow the country. No doubt about it that, you're really going out of your way, getting students involved, and students who would never think about this. You're only thinking about math, physics, chemistry, and all your other subjects. And suddenly out of nowhere, now you're thinking, oh, there is this opportunity in life. And you're not forcing anybody. No, start tomorrow. You're saying, have this dream alive. No, have this dream. go ahead and work, but still have this dream. Someday do it. Now, who is going to keep that dream alive? Who's going to light that fire? That's where organizations like TiE and all of these other business organizations come in and make it happen.
Wonderful. I'll just start a funny story before. Yeah, there is one. But
Okay, go ahead.
No. I want to say something before I come to you for the question.
All right.
There's a funny story where, see, I'm 50-year-old. I have a friend who is of my classmate. He went to see a girl to get married. Okay, arranged marriage. He went and visited the girl. He saw the girl. He liked it. But the girl's parents rejected him for the simple reason that he is running a business. He's an entrepreneur. So they rejected him. They said, "Illa ಕೆಲಸದಲ್ಲಿರೋರೆ ಬೇಕು ನಮಗೆ, ನೀವು ಬೇಡ." 6 ತಿಂಗಳಾಯಿತು. ಅವ್ರ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯಿ ಮದುವೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಇವರು. Whom does he see? The same girl marrying the employee of him. Okay, this was the situation of the society then. Now it has changed. So if the society starts accepting entrepreneur as somebody and gives their daughter in marriage, I think things have changed, which has changed. I think that is why TiE and everybody is got into it. And like Ashwin said, the only difference between a US and an India is probably entrepreneurship. If we can create a lot more entrepreneurship, not more innovation happens, because we are failing there, companies will take up and do better. Bhaskar, please go ahead.
There are many people out here who are first generation entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs, right? Now, both of you come from a business family, so you are second generation entrepreneurs. How much of the fact that you guys had a social net, a social support if you failed in your own, whatever you were trying to do, how much of it played on your mind that, look, if I fail, I'm going to try it for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, etc. If I fail for whatever reason, I got something to go back to. It may not be consciously in your mind, but in subconscious mind, how much of it played a role? Because that is the biggest fear people, first generation entrepreneurs have, right? So saying, and even, to Dr. Dharma's point, people who have the fire in the belly, they may not be able to start right away, but they'll probably want to start 15, 20, 30 years later. That is because they have a financial security. They would have acquired some financial security to be able to take that risk. So how much of that played a role in your mind to say, look, I got something to go back to, right? And therefore you were more daring. Therefore you had that ability to take risk. So it's an open question. So
I think 100% was not risk. Right? No doubt in my mind that it definitely played a huge role. Somebody you can't deny that. But having said that, today when I look at it, if we are at 1x and you want to go to 2x, the risk is the same, right? And that's the game that we play. That you stay at 1x, or then you try for 2x, or you try for 10x, or whatever. So that risk is there. Right, and that's something that is worrying, and that's something that we grapple with as well. When we want to expand, when we want to do things, we are also kind of thinking about that. But having said that, you can't, if you're not able to make your ends meet, saying no, go out and start something is probably not good advice. Probably advice given by people who are able to make their ends meet. Right? So if I put, and I see this with my friends, I have a lot of friends who've got dreams. I tell them it's okay that you don't start today, but keep that fire alive, Don't say it's not possible. And there is a lot of unwanted news that goes around that says, no, only young people can start. That, this is something of the young people. I say, all this, who's made this up? Right? It's when you're little older, you're so much more wiser. Like, you've done all your mistakes, you're able to do it. So I tell this to all people. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you start tomorrow, but keep the fire alive. Get a little settled. Your parents are okay. These are basics of life, Your parents are okay. Things are a little okay. You're doing well. And then be able to take that risk. Similarly, I think, like for me as well, that, okay, you're at 1x. How do you go to the next level?
That doesn't go away. So yes, the safety net plays on your back of your mind, it plays. But I say, unless you take that leap, you will never be able to take that leap. You keep thinking about that safety net which is going to protect you, and that safety net will protect you for a very short time. So where I come from is on a day-to-day basis, you are taking decisions and risk which you're looking at from a growth of either the business or from whether it is starting off or you're trying to expand to a different scale. That risk always remains. When you made up your mind to take that leap, go at it full-fledged. That allows you to not have that thing at the back of the mind that you missed out on an opportunity that you should have taken when you wanted to take it. So keeping the fire alive, I agree, but when you're ready to call the shot and take it, because you'll put in your 100% to make it happen, rather than trying to find a fallback. Always you'll keep looking for that fallback for every decision that you take.
It's a little later. I think we'll switch the order. Ashwin, my next question. You deal with customers, weather and equipment. It's not a single thing. And also a legacy that you need to maintain. What's been the toughest decision you have made that no one saw?
None of it seems tough. Right? Like at least at GRS, none of it seems tough. I think always the future seems more difficult than what you're doing right now. Because I don't have a problem working. So none of it like seems difficult, but the future seems always like future as in what is currently present seems okay. But then you want to go to the next level, you want to do bigger things, you want to take that leap. That seems much more tougher. And all along in my history, I see this. Every time we did something new, every time we tried to start something new, every time we thought of investing something, those were moments which were like, oh, you question yourself like constantly. And, my wife's going through that right now. She's started her dental clinic. She started a beautiful dental clinic in Jailakshmipuram. It's called Smile Sure Dental. It is besides Ibaco ice cream. And she's a wonderful doctor. She's a wonderful doctor, but she doesn't know how business works. Right? And she's telling me, no, I think, and she's full of doubt. And you started this conversation, like today you started with confusion. I'm sure all of us have had confusion. But I always say, confusion means you're thinking. No confusion means you're not thinking at all. Right? So she's full of doubt. And I said, when you are having that doubt, she's like, maybe I should reduce my Google ad spends. Maybe I'll get rid of the receptionist. It's the natural way of thinking, right? So I said, when under that kind of pressure, don't shrink. And this took me time to understand as well. I remember reading this book by Richard Branson when he said, when business is tough, do more, do bigger, do more. I just could not understand it. But along the way, you start seeing this again and again. And we went through COVID, right? Ours was the toughest, hard industry that was hit the hardest. We were the first to close, last to open. And GRS Up Down, a dream project. We opened it one day before COVID. We opened it, customers didn't see it, we shut it down, shut for a year. Nobody saw it. And at that time, I was Southern Region Chairman for IRP, which is our association. And I remember calling up all our other amusement park owners, telling them saying, and we are paying salaries here, we have mounting debts, and calling them up saying, don't worry, everything will be okay, nothing will happen, this will get better. I don't know where I found that I would get on Zoom calls with these guys. And Karnataka took a stance that time. What had happened was your temples had opened, buses were allowed, a lot of public places were allowed, amusement parks were closed. So then I met Chief Minister Yadurappa as well. Somehow that connection happened and ended up meeting him, met him 3 times. Once at Vidhan Sauda, Vikas Sauda and his residence, I think Krishna, or Kaveri, one of them. So we met there and he was very clear. He's like, please open. Why you closed? But it was the bureaucracy around which was not agreeing. And I said, sir, tourism, is not. It's like a tree. You can't cut it down and then suddenly expect next year everything will grow up. And during COVID, huge brands fell. SL World shut down. Kishkinta in Chennai shut down. Big properties which have invested for 25, 30 years got decimated. And honestly, I forgot your question.
Toughest decision that you
Yeah. So I think getting through COVID and just being in that space and getting through it, that was very tough for us. But the year after that, no, it was amazing. The year after that was revenge tourism. Oh my God. You couldn't believe. Right? We kept increasing our rates. That was the year when we closed our gates the highest. Right? We said we can't handle anymore. We're going to close our gate. We're not going to allow you in. And that's what we did. And all the trouble and all the pain that we went through, no, we recovered in that 1 year. And somehow the people who were resilient and who stood back, we brought on so much debt to support our people. We're very proud that we paid salaries throughout COVID. And but then post that, we were able to recover and all of that. So COVID was, of course, a very difficult time for our industry. But from there, today, the amusement industry has gone on to grow. We are, I think, we will reach a $3 billion industry in 2027. And Mr. Shekhawat, who's our tourism minister, central government, visited our trade show and inaugurated our trade show in Mumbai, which I was heading the thing. He visited it and he's given the support. There is so much support for our industry in the tourism, the tourism guidelines that every state is coming out with. There is a lot of push that is given to the amusement industry and to this sector. Basically, amusement industry is not just parks. It's amusement parks, water parks, snow parks, indoor amusement centers, museums, zoos, and a few more of these adventure parks. All of this comes under that. Physical attractions comes under that category. So there is a lot of scope in India today for this. So yeah, that was the most challenging time, you would say.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ashwin, for sharing that. I think moving on to Sumukh, what do you do on the days when nothing goes right? And expectations from family feel overwhelming. I think we all go through this sometimes in our life. How do you deal with it?
My wife told me one of the days that I came home, things didn't go right. She's like, you have a different problem every day. We've been married for 7 years. You have had a different problem every day that you have come in. So life moves on. So trying to carry what happens on the previous day to the next day really doesn't really help sort out the problem. Or carrying something that my dad did really well was not carry work back home. And I try to do my best at not carrying work back home. But today I wouldn't say I'm really great at it. But I need to learn from my dad, who came back home. There were calls that used to come, but beyond that, there was not much of work that we discussed. So that is where I see having a clear distinction between work and private life really helps you reset and take up the challenge that is there. The challenge may be small, the challenge may be large, but running a business, you don't know what really pops up. You can have the best of the days being ruined in couple of seconds during the closing of the day, or the worst of the days getting sorted out with a phone call a few seconds later. So these ups and downs happen on a day-to-day basis. You get pretty much used to it, but the more you segregate your professional life from your personal life, the more you are able to segment and not carry it back home. So that is the way that's the way I've learned from my father, and that's the way I'm trying to walk his shoes. And that's the way I try to deal with bad days when they are.
How do you manage this? You watch movie, you do yoga, what do you do to reduce your...
For me, sleep is the best way to get over
Wonderful.
Everything. So it's a complete reset. So I find getting a good night's sleep gives me a good reset of everything that happened on the previous day. I've been blessed that I put my head to a pillow and I can go to sleep. And that's the way I cope with managing with a good or a bad day.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sumukh, for that secret of yours. We all have ours. Moving on to Ashwin. When you look at the next generation of entrepreneurs here, many of them are sitting here. What's the one thing you wish you had known when you started, when you were in their age?
I think early on, one thing that pops out to how I used to do things was, early on, I said I have to do everything. I think there is a huge, I'm still learning this, right? But I said that everything I have to do, every problem I have to solve, all the time I have to be doing it. And that's been a big thing for me and a big change. To be able to work with people, to be able to accept everybody else as well, has been a big thing for me. So you don't have to fight this, whatever it is that you want to do, you don't have to fight it alone. You can get a lot of other people along with you. Just sharing itself makes a huge difference. So you don't have to, I think that would be a huge, like, if I always think, if I went back and redid things, how would I do things differently? I think this is something that I would put a lot more effort into, being able to be more social, being able to be more accepting. I think that would help me a lot, is what I feel. And that's what I can tell everybody as well. You don't have to make this you don't have to make it only your fight. It can be the fight. You can fight this with a lot of other people along with you. Get your family along, get your people along. For a long time, I would keep business out of the house. Like, I have the opposite problem. I would keep business outside the house, right? And so when you're going through tough times, you don't have your wife or anybody else to support you as well, because you've kept everything outside. So you've had a tough time at work and you come home late and your wife's like, hey, why did you come home late? It's fair. She's 100% fair to say what she's saying, because she doesn't know. You've not shared anything. And, since I've started sharing more, since I've started telling her more, then you get to hear a outside picture as well, no? Outside in. Biggest problems in the world are not that big. They become small once you start talking to people and start sharing. So that would be my advice. Don't fight it out alone. Get people along. You've got your lecturers. You've got your social circle around you. If you've got one of the biggest things that broke for me, when I was in the Bangalore startup circle in around 2010-11, we would get ideas and we would not share it with anybody. No, my $1 million idea, I will not share with anybody. So biggest thing that I had to learn, that just go out there and share, because I don't think ideas matter as much as execution. Execution, and when the tire hits the road is where it really matters. So to young people, sharing is caring. Great.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Sharing is caring for yourself.
Thank you, Ashwin. I think you talked about delegation and collaboration, very critical aspects in an entrepreneur's life. I'll tell you one secret, my dear friends. One of the most important person in your life, as per Harvard's 80-year study, is your spouse. We spend with her most time than anybody else in this life. And you know the secret? I'll tell you how to keep her happy. You want to hear it? Yes, you want to hear it? Every day, evening, when you go back home, sit with her up for half an hour. Just listen to her stories. Whatever she says, gossip, what happened to her life on that day, whatever it is, right? Whether you listen here and leave it here, it doesn't matter. Okay? Because anyway, we'll not remember tomorrow if she asks, what did I tell you yesterday? We'll not remember anyway. So the idea is, listen to her, look into her eyes, nod your head. That's all you have to do. Don't go to sleep. Don't look anywhere else. Look into her eyes, nod, listen to her. And that's it. After that, coffee will come to wherever you're sitting. Dinner will also come to your table only. That's all, my dear friends. The secret.
This is WMS, Wife Management System. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. No, a happy life. For your happy life, this is the secret that we all have to follow, my dear men. Women, I don't know. There is another secret. I'll tell you some other time. How you manage your husbands. But anyway, wonderful. To Sumukh, my question is, what's one belief your family built your company on that you still have to carry forward? Sometimes you have to unlearn what you learned in a college and then relearn in your company.
Vinyas has been one very major thing that the core of the organization has been the beliefs and the value systems inside the organization. We've had a very diverse strength of employees in the organization, and that has always been the thing that has held the organization together. The good, the bad times, all put together. It has come together irrespective of what the situation is. So keeping that value system going in the organization has something that I value a lot, because I've seen some of the employees, a large portion of the upper management being with my father for a little over 30 years, and that same value system has trickled down to most of the employees, to the shop floor, and to the last employee that is there. And trying to keep that going with our generation, where I see that the previous generation, those ethics and those beliefs mattered a lot. With our generation, the buck stops at, are you paying me enough to keep running? And that value system has faded off, and the next opportunity which would give a better pay is what things people jump. So keeping that value system going has been something that I've been holding on to, and that is how the same thought process that was there in the organization that I'm trying to push down. Things that I'm trying to unlearn is, all said and done, some of the decisions need to be taken. Difficult decisions need to be taken, and the part of saying no to someone, that's the toughest thing that you do on a day-to-day basis. The person that you're working with is a person that you have spent a lot of time, and the day you feel very comfortable to say no to that person and take a decision is when there is a mutual respect. The whole culture at Vinyas was a little more comfortable, and suddenly trying to say no, this is not going to happen, or saying no to the customer when something is not right, was not something as a part of the culture that was running. So that has been the biggest, I would say, thing that I had to unlearn. It was difficult upfront, but now with a lot more challenges where we have been more comfortable, I feel that's the right way to handle things when it comes to it. So.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sumukh. One last question to both of you before we move on to rapid fire, and then we take audience questions. Ashwin, my last question to you is, if you had to rebuild GRS without family name, without any support, just a new breed entrepreneur from zero, what would your first 3 steps be?
I think even before thinking about this question, I'm an organization like GRS, and all the learnings that we've had are so organic. And if you see GRS the way it is today compared to what it was visualized when it started, it's a completely different world. It's not at all the same at all. 25 years ago, we said if 1,000 people come into our park on a day, then we will consider ourselves successful. Today we say if 1,000 people come into our park, only 1,000 people come into our park, then it's not been a good day. Right? So that's a huge change in terms of today we are able to handle 6,000-7,000 people on a day and all of that. So just the infrastructure wise as well, it's been a huge thing for us. Whenever I 25 years back, when I was a kid and going there, I have a stone of ours, which was, when they were digging the wave pool, I found a stone with like a fossil on it, which I got and which I kept with me. Today, I've framed it and kept it in my office. And I have a poster of ours where the ticket rate is 50 rupees. And I've framed it and put it up. And besides that is where today our average rupee sale is about 1,800, 1,900, 2,000 rupees a customer is what is our average rupee sale. Compared to where we came from, it's a huge task, right? So now if you ask me, what would you do? What would be the first three things? I would immediately get into, I think principally what we would look at is in terms of branding and positioning, how would we change it? I think that would be number one, because now whenever we start a new business, we start from that space of how do we brand it? How do we position it? Who's our customer? What is their problem? What are we trying to solve? So I think that's your principal thing. And from there, what is the solution that we want to give? There are, you inherit a lot of legacy issues for a park which is 25 years old. Almost all of GRS is new, except for the entrance. Now we have a famous architect who's done a lot of amusement parks all over the world come in. And he came in and he said, oh, I thought 25 years old must be a really dilapidated place. And he told me at least 5 times saying, I can't believe, how have you guys maintained it like this? How have you kept it like this? I went back and told my father, this is what he was saying. He's like, yeah, okay, good. But it's a challenge, and I think it's a challenge as well as it's a boon. Both of these things are there. Now, when we are thinking of new attractions, when we are thinking of new places that we want to expand into, primarily we think about branding and positioning. Then we think about, in terms of viability of the business, is something that we think about. And lastly is design and customer experience and everything else. So that's how I think we would take it up.
Wonderful. I think that's a great recipe for the future entrepreneurs to think about when they start a business. Similar question to Sumukh. What advice would you give to someone in the audience who is feeling stuck between a legacy or a personal ambition? I'll ask you this. Why? Because everybody has a legacy. My grandfather was a teacher, my father was a teacher. So the moment you are a teacher's son, you are expected to do certain way. Similarly, all of us face the same challenge because we have certain legacies because of which we are expected to behave or do something. You had a bigger one. So what would you suggest to someone in the audience?
I'll put it in 2 ways. I think my father broke the legacy of for a family of doctors, and the legacy was, there was a lot of effort put in to bring back the legacy with me. And to my bad luck, I had a better medical seat than an engineering degree that I could get into. So what I would say is, drive with what passion that you want to go with, and back yourself up for what you want to do. Just because something has been done a certain way all this while doesn't warrant you as an individual. Every individual is very different, and the way you look at different things in life is going to be very different. I would say a lot of you would concur with me that either your parents, you would be very different to how your parents would deal with the situation or their whole thought process. So expecting the same thing to be done in the next generation is, I would say, very wrong, and you would be succumbing to the pressure of the external world to follow the legacy that is there. Coming back in business, following the legacy, there is always a legacy to the business. Patience has been my biggest, I would say, biggest benefit. Having the patience through the legacy that is there, thinking about more on the long term, on how we change the direction of the organization, keeping in mind the ethics and the values of the legacy is most important, but losing your own individuality, trying to keep the legacy alive, you get into a rut where you're not living yourself. So that is where I would say, honor the legacy, but do what you feel is right and represents your true self. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sumukh. Wonderful. One round of applause for all these answers. So now rapid fire questions, right? One word or one sentence, not more than that. No thinking, no explanations. Ashwin, one line from your father you still hear in your head today.
He would say, have patience. I think he would say, yeah, you've done something. Don't change it immediately. Let it live its course. I have the opposite problem of what he has. Okay. Very, very like, no, this has to be done. This has to be done now. This is how it has to be done. I am that. So he will say, oh, you've just done it. Wait for some time. See what happens.
How about you, Sumukh?
I would say the same thing, but it comes in a different way. He says, everything will be all right. Keep waiting. Everything will be all right. And that's something that initially drove me crazy, because early on, I didn't have the patience, and he used to say, everything will be all right, wait for it. And wonderful. I kept waiting.
Thank you. First salary or first big failure? What's more memorable?
First salary or first big failure?
Failure, yeah.
I think both. First salary as well as first big failure, I told you. Not being able to pay your salary. Again, that connects to salary. Not being able to pay your salary. First salary also I remember. My first salary, I was in Bangalore. So proud. I got my mom a sari, I got my grandmother a sari, and I got my dad a watch. Wonderful. So I don't know, very cliched, but that's what I did.
I would say the same thing. The first salary is always memorable, and it came outside, so it was. The first failure, you will always remember, and that keeps you going.
First salary, first girl, first college, first car, first kiss. I think it's always memorable, isn't it? Anyway, if your business...
Did you ask him about his what first?
I can't repeat it, okay.
Where is this going?
No, the next question is, if your business were a Bollywood movie, what would be its title?
Like Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness. How about you, Sumukh?
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible. Interesting choice. So one workplace rule you have broken but never confessed until today.
I don't care for HR rules. Actually, I've confessed. Okay. I don't care. As long as things get done, I don't care for rules. Sorry, HR rules meaning not legal rules.
Okay. Yeah.
Rules that we have set. You have to come at this time, go at this time, wear uniform, wear like this. Yeah. I don't care.
Okay.
The HR team and everybody else does. For me,
it's
just get things done.
What's the rule that you've broken but not confessed until today?
Rule that I've broken is rules of the organization are one thing, but rules what I live with is very different. As long as HR deals with it, I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Both of your HR needs to be
I know
informed.
my HR has to deal with me more than my
staff, is it?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Next, a fictional character you secretly relate to as a leader. Or maybe I'll ask, who is the superhero character that you love, or who you think you relate to?
I would say Iron Man.
Iron Man, okay.
I really like tech. I really like these things.
Okay. So how about you, Sumukh?
I would put it a little different. I'm more a very reserved person, and more into Sheldon Cooper is what my wife calls me, because I'm too reserved, and my character is very similar to that. I don't say on a business side, but as a fictional character, that's where I would put myself at.
Wonderful. One last question, gentlemen, because this is a meme time. If the audience made a meme about your leadership style, what would they say? about you? If there is a meme made on both of you.
You should ask my team.
Okay.
You should ask my team, and then I would say that I love with all my heart, and I can be very critical. I can be very critical about bad work. Work is worship for me, and what comes out of it is worship, and it has to be perfect. Has to be like spick and span. I value myself by my work, so I think that's what they would say.
The meme would be angry young man or something like that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
More than angry young man would be a dictator somewhere or something like that. That's the feeling that would be the meme I feel would run.
Thank you, Sumukh. Thank you, Ashwin. Any questions from the audience, please? It's open. Sabrishan, sir, please.
Now, you had your family already in business, and that's why you are second generation. What if your family was not in any business and you had to start afresh? How would you go about convincing your family, I mean your parents especially, so that the first generation would be can learn something from you?
I would say take the plunge, because trying to convince the world around you on what you're doing right, you will end up trying to convince all of them and take their suggestion on how things need to be right. That's how I have lived, where end of the day, the decision and the buck stops at me. So trying to take a buy-in from family is something that you need to work on, but with the fear of getting a buy-in from the family, not pushing yourself through to take that decision, is an opportunity that you would be losing yourself. So I would say take the decision and make it happen, and then the family will automatically be very happy to back you up on it.
I think I have seen in life, if I am convinced of something, everybody around me will get convinced. So I say, whenever I want to do something, there are 4 or 5 people that I need to convince. I have to convince the directors, I have to convince my staff that this is needed, I have to then convince the vendors, then I have to convince the customer. But the biggest person to convince is myself. The day when I am convinced, no, everybody around gets convinced. When I go into any discussion with doubt, it's visible. So a lot of homework, a lot of prep, anytime big decisions are needed, if I am convinced, there's no doubt. Because everybody around will get convinced, no doubt in my head. So I always say the biggest challenge is me being able to decide, saying, yes, this is what I want. And once I've decided, then everything else falls in place. So I think what he said is very fair, that you have to get convinced that, yes, I'm going to do this. And then your parents will back you. Otherwise, what happens is, no, my parents didn't allow, somebody else didn't allow, all of that comes in.
When I was a kid, I remember having a puzzle or crossword like a thing, like brochure thing from GRS, and I retained it for quite a long time because it had cartoons and maybe some fun games and jokes and stuff, maybe characters. So today, I want to ask you, what kind of marketing or advertising strategies are you using? Are you still into such goodies or promotional things? What are you doing? What is your approach today?
When did you get it?
Just
So
very small,
at the moment, our focus has been pretty much pre-visit. And I think 3 years ago, we took a huge stance that we would move pretty much all our budgets, or 90% of our budgets, towards digital marketing. When it comes to digital marketing, clearly like segmentation, trying to understand who's the customer, trying to understand what is the problem that we are trying to solve. So that's the direction that we are going in terms of marketing, like a very scientific approach. What is the ROAS for each segment? That's what we are doing. But while saying all this, I get that emotional angle that you're talking about. You took back a gift home and, you made something of this. Now this opens up a huge thing in my head. At the moment, we focus on merchandising. Merchandising as a way to take back memories is what we focus on. But, maybe we will explore again like puzzles and games and other things that this audience segment can enjoy. We say that at GRS Fantasy Park, it's preteens and the families who are our biggest customers, who are our fans. So this is the target audience that we focus on. Probably you must have been 8, 9, 10 years old. Yeah, and you must have been enamored by it until you were 12 or 13. And after that, it would have kind of gone down because we study customer segmentation. We try and understand who is coming in, what is happening and all of that. I'll take this back today, right? I'll take this back. I'll see what is the kind of post-engagement, what can we do. I'm very happy to say we have a team called as the Customer Happiness Team. And the Customer Happiness Team's job is post-visit how to make sure that, we understand the voice of the customer, what is happening and all of that. But maybe taking some magic back home is something I'll work on. And that's thank you for, making that alive for me.
Thank you. One more question. I just want to ask you, being an HR myself, in the service industry, what do you think is the role played by HR? What is the importance of human resource managers? Because you have frontliners everywhere and they are the direct dealers with the customers. So according to you, what is the role played by HRs?
Unfortunately, people who keep the rules, right? It's I say that, I tell my HR as well. And in fact, every manager, I tell them saying, how do you take care of your people? And like things like my maintenance team, we have a very safe record, right? We're very proud. Of course, we don't compete on safety with anybody. Safety is ground rules on which everybody works. I'm very proud to say, all our safety initiatives we share with the entire industry, right? Because we don't compete on safety. But when it comes to the HR, I always say, how can we take care of our people, right? How can we make sure that people are valued? We have this award show, it's a huge award show which happens every quarter called as the GRS Star Awards. Mm-hmm. So all our people are there in MISs. So we recognize our people, and then it's not just recognition. We make sure that I think about 15-20 people are recognized. We put a shawl on them, we call them on stage, we give them a memento, we take care of them, we take great care of them. And then there are so many other silent initiatives that we take as HR, which really kind of puts forward the effort that we do. And, I might have all the love in my heart for all my people, but then if there is a Rangoli competition in the park that my HR has arranged, I'm there. Because it matters, it really matters. If there is we support the children of all our staff for education. When that happens, then I am there giving out that check, or my father's there giving out that check to all of these kids, encouraging them. We talk to the kids of our families. And my HR and all of that is core integrally involved. Now, I might have made it sound rudimentary when I say I don't care for the rules. I don't care for the rules which come in the way. For example, if somebody is not wearing uniform, I say that's not my problem. That's what I meant. No, all these rudimentary rules which come in the way of doing great work, I don't get involved in that.
I think that's the approach. Rules are made for the ease of execution.
Yeah. Rules are lowest common denominators. Right? At some point, somebody said, this is how an organization is supposed to be run, and this is the lowest common denominator. So, yeah.
What do you do about training employees who are directly interacting with your customers? Because in the service sector, it is of utmost importance.
Okay, one last question. So I'll say, in GRS, we calculate something called as the NPS score, which is the Net Promoter Score. And every customer who comes to the park, there is a AI-generated WhatsApp message which goes to them, which captures their sentiment, and we get a dashboard of it. And the bottom line is, the only reason why GRS exists is to make customers happy. Now, if you are not able to do that, then what's the whole deal? And I am very clear, we have our training modules before every season. We have our training modules which go into place. And these training modules are specific, like operational staff do their operational thing, maintenance staff have their thing, management staff have their thing, and all of us have our things. And I say, if a customer goes back unhappy, see, we are 500 of us, right? And 499 people have done a great job. The last guy, when he's exiting, he spoke rudely of the customer. You know what the customer says? He will never say that the 499 did a good job. He will say, what is this organization? Hopeless, useless, right? So that kind of deep focus into customer happiness, no. So I say, in any language, you make sure that our customer is happy. I don't tell them you have to do it in English, you have to do it in Kannada, or you have to do it in some other language. In any language, in your own language, make sure our customers are happy. And we do a few points. Like for example, ours is the only park where if a customer is walking by and there's an operator at the right, no, he'll say, "Sir, Banni, Adi," they'll say. And then another instance, one of my friends said, he said his mother had come. Okay, his mother was standing at our super drop slide and she was standing there and she was not going on it. Right? By then he had gone down. Right? And then the operator told her, "Madam, worry madbedi. ಈ ಥರ ತುಂಬ ಜನ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸೇಫ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲೇನೆ 15 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನೂ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಗನ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗಿ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ." And so he went down. Now, how do you teach this? You can't teach this, right? But what you can say is, make sure that it's a DNA of our organization, that we love our customers, and I personally love our staff, so it kind of falls in place.
Sorry?
How do you handle the failure or setbacks, both personally and professionally?
There's always a down. Whatever goes down will always come up. So you take a step back, reevaluate what went wrong, and you put a direction on how you're going to ensure that you take care of the failure that you have. You either have met with or what happened to you. It's one of the biggest learning points in life that you get. The failures happen when you have a large expectation of something that you expected it to go a right way and it went the wrong way. So it gives you the biggest learning lesson that you have. Personally, the best thing to do is to share. You always have a person that you really can share with, and sharing helps you talk it out and get you back up. So having that person whom you can share and who would listen to you and take a step back and recoup, I think that's the best way to handle with personal failures. Professionally, there is always a up and a down. So enjoy the ride when you hop on.
Phrase, customer is king. And we are taught we should always take their needs into consideration while we make decisions. So GROs, obviously you'll get a lot of feedbacks, Google reviews and so on. So how much of the feedback do you take into consideration? Where do you draw the line?
Started with customer is king, but I changed it to some customers are kings, or our customers are kings.
I'll put it a different way. So I added a line, customer is God as long as he behaves like God.
So, yeah. So, but to come back to your question, we've identified golden customers and grey customers, right? Golden customers, let's say in case of institutions, what we've seen is we get schools where 800 students will come at a time. Then we also get schools where we get 20 students coming at a time. And we used to treat these guys similarly. And what we used to see was that we used to give many times, we used to end up giving a lot of importance to the problems that the 20 student group was giving us. But it might be irrelevant actually. So when we started doing this analysis and this 80-20 principle, there is a principle called as the Pareto principle. And if anybody is interested, there is a book called 80-20 Sales and Marketing. One of the most profound books that I've read. Now, if you go through that book and if you go through things, right, you start realizing this thing that all problems are not the right problems. Hey, all complaints are not the right problems. In the past, whenever we got a complaint, so I have a weekly OM, like an operations meeting where all our problems are listed out and the escalation matrix is there and what is happening. Now, when we get a problem, we say who gave this problem, right? And if we can say that the who was not our who, then we say, okay, this is where we draw the line. But if it's our golden school, if it's the 600-person school and they say something is wrong, we will do everything in our power to make it right. Right? So that's where, I mean, that's the scientific way that we handle that. But great, thank you for that question.
Excellent. Excellent question and answer. Differentiation, I think, is the key. I'll just read out a closing note before I hand out to Kishan. Leg to climb it with your own grip, with your own pace, and sometimes your own direction. What we heard today weren't just business strategies, they were human stories of courage and conviction. Legacy isn't about doing what your father did. It's about doing what your children will be proud of. So on behalf of TiE Mysuru, thank you, Sumukh and Ashwin, for reminding us that leadership isn't inherited, it's earned. One step at a time, day by day, decision by decision. And to everyone here, founders, dreamers, students, that's why TiE exists. To bring bold stories, honest conversations, and a tribe that grows together. Let's keep learning, let's keep building, and keep showing up for our stories and for each other. See you the next one. Thank you so much. One big round of applause for Ashwin and Sumukh.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dharma Prasad sir, for moderating the Fireside Chat so very well. And we have many students, gathered here in this particular, and wherein this particular session will definitely be, the game changer for them for their entire life, where they would be seeing them as entrepreneurs in the coming days as well. I had two quotes based on the two gentlemen over here. Innovation is the change that unlocks new value. And it's not just the rides that make amusement parks so thrilling, it is the people watching too. It was very pleasant listening to both of you, as well as moderated by Dharma Prasad sir. Now, a big round of applause from TiE Mysuru for all the gentlemen on the dais. I request Pawan Ranga sir to kindly come on the stage and hand over the memento to Mr. Ashwin as a token of appreciation from TiE Mysuru on this Fireside Chat. So I also take this opportunity to introduce the charter member of, you all can please be seated. Now let me just go on with how Dharma Prasad sir asked. Have you heard about the spirit with the name Samsara Jinn? Yeah. Sitararam? Amara Vodka? I mean, since we have most of the students and I didn't take that quote. Yeah, here we have the co-founder of Statesman Spirits Lab Private Limited, Mr. Jai Prakash Chopra. He is here with us, who is the founder of Samsara Jinn, Sitara Ram, as well as Amara Vodka. He is also proprietor of Ruchi Agro Technologies, which works on micronutrient manufacturing unit towards agri-space, and his spirits are available at 14 Indian states and 6 international markets. Under his leadership, the company has won the Icons of Gin Award. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jai Prakash Chopra, the charter member of TiE Mysuru, will be available for networking you over the high tea. Also, we have Pratap. He is the member past many days, but couldn't find time to introduce him. He is the co-founder and director of Edinbridge Foundation, a non-profit unit driving academic, industrial, and social transformation, certified under 12AB and 80G. He also represents the bridge, gap, filling the gap between industry and institutes through various programs, having associated with most of the industries across Mysuru, Chamarajanagar, Nanjangud, as well as the institutions. They are running the HR professional sessions with having more than 30 WhatsApp groups and having around 3,000 HR professionals associated. He is also the co-founder of IKEA Nivasam, a Vastu-based interior design company situated in Mysore. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Pratap. He'll also be available for the networking, high networking. So, moving ahead with, as usual, I take up this platform for ending my word of thanks. Most of it is already done by Dr. Dharma Prasad sir, but yet it becomes my, immense pleasure to thank all the charter members, associate members, and the student members who were part of this event and making this event a great success. I also thank the, the venue partners, Ruchi, the Prince, and the event coordinated by Inside Out and Deseda Consultants for making the event so comfortable. Thank you all, and we hope to see you all in a good networking high tea over the next. I request the board members the charter members to kindly come on the dais for a group photo along with the delegates there.